you're watching this.
You are the resistance.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have some very important news today. The Atheist Experience Show has chickened out, they have backed down, they have run away from my channel.
And then Shock continues on for the rest of his video, basically spouting off how he's won because the Atheist Experience won't take on his challenge. Now, I left this comment on Shock's channel. Shock used to have me blocked, apparently unblocked me because I was able to submit that comment, but big surprise, he's got a comment pending approval. You are being disingenuous. If you knew anything about science, you would understand the burden of proof resides with you. Since you are making the claim for an outlandish, all-powerful being existing, of which you have zero evidence for and no data to support your claim. God is not the default position, as you seem to maintain. You do not ask for proof of a negative. You are the one who needs to provide some proof. Seriously, stop being childish and twisting the truth. If you are a Christian, be honest. And knowing how this character Shock likes to control the flow of information, I figured that comment would never see the light of day. Now Shock, if you happen to get a chance to watch this video, and I suspect you probably will become aware of this, I'd like to issue you my own challenge. See, what you don't understand, Shock, is the burden of proof resides with you. It doesn't reside with the atheist. God is not the default position. There's no evidence, no proof of God. We look around, we can't find any evidence of God, yet you theists want to tell us that there's a God. You've made up this God. So I'm asking you to provide some proof and evidence that being a Christian is correct and accurate. And I'm going to take the same stance that you're taking with this radio show you challenge, that if you don't provide some proof and evidence, that you're in the wrong. Error. Fail on your part. See, this is a two-way street, Shock. You just can't have this one way. And in fact, the way that you're trying to play the game is the incorrect way. You're using science. You like to throw that word around, but you're not using the scientific principle. Now I'm going to try to make this simple for you, Shock, so you can understand it. Let's say that I was to make this claim that there was a pink polka-dotted orangutan somewhere on planet Earth. The burden of proof would reside with me. I would have to provide you with a holotype. I would have to provide you with a specimen or some pretty hard evidence. The best evidence would be at least a specimen, DNA samples, failing that, extremely well-documented photographs, eyewitness reports. This is how you establish that something actually exists. When someone first came to the Western world and said that there were gorillas in the Congo, the burden of proof resided with them. Shock. Everybody else on the planet that wasn't aware of gorillas didn't have to provide any evidence whatsoever that gorillas did not exist. The default position is not existing. So your challenge is bullshit. It's no wonder the radio station isn't going to take you up on it, and yet you're spouting off like some kind of rooster that found a grub that you've won. You may have won the race for stupidity or lack of understanding how the scientific principle works. I'll give you that. So how about it, Shock? Buck up. Show me some evidence that the belief in Christianity, the belief in the giant magical space chicken prophet, is accurate and correct. Get right back on that block button again, Shock. Block me. Don't approve my comments. Now, I like how you run your radio show, Shock, just like the Christian radio stations around here. An atheist will call up and go to say something, and he barely gets 2 words out of his mouth, and they hang up on him, and then they spend the next 15 minutes making jokes about him, poking fun about him, saying stuff about him, when the person doesn't have the ability to defend themselves. So in your little sandbox, you can win the battles because you can put those little plastic men wherever you want as long as you stay in your sandbox. Shock. If I was at radio station, I would have invited you right on the radio station and engaged you one-to-one. In fact, Shock, I offer up an open invitation to you to come into my blog TV room anytime you want. We'll discuss this existence of God. I'd be very interested in that, Shock. I'd love to see the evidence that you've got for the existence, that the belief in Christianity is accurate and correct.